You are now listening to the podcast for geeks and the stuff they love, where each week we'll talk about everything from anime to movies, games, and prop collecting with the people who create and love it. I'm Jeremy.
I'm Vince.
I'm James.
And this is your Geek Fix.
2 years ago, Vince, 2 years ago, I asked you a question. Do you remember what the question was?
It was, what do you think this day is about, I guess?
May the 4th. Do you know what the significance of May the 4th is, Vince?
Yeah, it's, I believe it's Star Wars related.
It is Star Wars related. It is the birthday of the first Star Wars, 1977. May the 4th, 1977.
All right.
This was back, by the way, before we went to video. So with the old days that I kind of miss, where I didn't have to go through and add video or edit things and stuff, I just left it. It was the easiest thing to do on this channel. But at the same time, I asked you at that point in time, what is today? And today is May the 4th. So we're recording this on May the 4th, even though it'll come out later. We talked about doing a live stream, but the setup for that, I did not want to mess with it. And with everything else that's going on, I was like, nah, that's okay. But at the same time, it's more important than that. It's more important than the fact that this is May the 4th, which is the day, Star Wars Day. May the 4th
remember
be with
stay
you.
in the Netherlands as well.
Is it? I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty important, right?
It's pretty high on the list, yeah.
I would say that's pretty up there. Yep. So all these things are important. Definitely liberation is pretty important. But something, I'm still saying but. The reason why I say but is because this was also the first time you and I had kind of really sat down and met in person, wasn't it? Technically, we were able to see each other, even though we didn't play the video. So even when we did the audio only, we still had video feed. Yeah. So I'm pretty sure that was the first time we actually.
Yeah, we chatted before because of the Pip-boy stuff. I shared the Hackaday project I made.
But wasn't that mostly didn't we just talk by way of, didn't we just do email and stuff like that before that?
Or comments even. Comments, yeah.
Yeah, and comments. But we didn't talk in face-to-face kind of thing. We still haven't met in person.
No.
Although,
James and I did.
James and you did. I'll hang out with James hopefully, if we get them all back to, James got a pretty major injury, so this way he's not on with us today. He's actually hopefully recovering and hopefully getting discharged this morning, or this morning for me, nighttime for him. But at the same time, so our thoughts are with him. I tried calling him earlier. Every time I call, the hard thing about where I am versus where Vinz and James are is that there's a big time difference, and so and the way I communicate with James is actually through Instagram, and Instagram will show you that somebody's active, right? They have this little green dot. So I saw it was active last night because I didn't get to call him back. I had some patients I had to see, emergency things. Whenever you plan on something, then other things that are happening. So I ended up calling him because I saw it was active. I thought, he's probably up because he's in pain or something like that. And so we've had a lot of recorded messages going back and forth to each other because
two ships sailing in the night.
Yeah, that's right. Can't connect, right? But at any rate, but I hopefully he's recovering and stuff, and he gets back on his trips and stuff pretty soon because he's got both of you have been working on some things. James also recorded a lot of a trip recently to see how well it would work for doing YouTube. He's looking at more doing the voiceless, no face
Travel
kind
up.
Of thing. Yeah, you just kind of you get to go along and you get to see it. My favorite kind of video to fall asleep to. I watch a lot of those at night because they just make you feel good inside, And then Vince, is now. Let's make sure that everybody is really clear on this. If you want to be able to see Vince's videos that he's turning out right now, the best way to do that is go over to his channel. It's massivedmg, and just like it shows at the end of this podcast and in the description below and stuff. And if you go there and you subscribe and you also hit that reminder bell, then when he goes live he's already pre-done some videos, and I already seen some. These are just kind of get a taste of starting things back up. But at the same time, he has so many things that Vinz gets and works on. And I've been saying for I don't know how long now that he needs to be recorded. Just get it on video. You don't have to do anything with it. Just at least get some pictures of it, film it, share it on because they're cool things. And you got a couple that are pretty cool. One that's definitely vault related, and so definitely I'd say check out his channel. I'm very excited. How long have I been saying for you to get your channel going again?
I got some how do you say? I got some very enthusiastic. So I looked at the channel and my old Massive Damage episodes, like 1 through 5, I think. I rebranded them a while back because I was like, I'm rebranding the channel. I'm going to do something. Listen to me on the podcast. And that never really happened. They're still online now. So for posterity's sake. I'm going to do some what I call Tales from the Vault, because basically what I have is a giant vault of stuff. And since we this is like a new office for me, and I'm still moving stuff from my old room to this one, so I thought I might as well just grab a box that I'm putting upstairs and then just film whatever's in it, and then so everybody gets it, because sometimes I forget stuff that I have and I'm still surprised that I have it. And I also think that a lot of people would like it. So it's a bit of a show and tell kind of thing. Maybe some other stuff will happen down the way, but it's me just getting started, testing the water. So it would be great if the Your Geek Fixers or the Your Geek Fix fans could, shimmy on over to the Massive Damage channel and have a look.
Chance to hang out with Vinz one-on-one. It's a...
Yeah.
Well,
it's
true.
It's a more, it's the spin-off channel.
Well, and unboxing or just seeing geeky things, it's visual candy, it's geek porn, I guess you could you know what I mean? Like just there's something about seeing things that even if we don't get to have them or touch them, being able to just I can't tell you how many unboxings I've watched that is, or rewatched or see, especially things I'm looking at buying or things I actually did buy, and you're waiting that anticipation of ordering to when you receive it, kind of thing. I know. Speaking of which,
the first episode, I think it's highly doubtful that people would actually order or find one of those.
Well, that's true. Although, I mean, I was trying to think. I never got it because you didn't say what kind of connection it has on the back. Does it take a standard phone plug? Or what? Or was this a hardwired one of those where it's a cable that comes out of the back and it wires in?
This is an update. I can say what it is though. It's a bunker phone or an explosive resistant phone. And the guy, I asked him a while back, so what do you know of the history of it? He said, well, it was purchased new in 1987.
Oh, that's pretty recent.
It's
for me,
1
it's
year
pretty recent.
It's 1 year younger than I am.
Oh, is there?
Yes.
I remember that year. That's like
I was like,
it was in middle school at that point.
Oh yeah, I was still
high
a baby.
School, I can't remember.
But it's called an ATEX zone, and it's for against like explosion resistant, and it was hung in a production hall where a big chance of dust explosions were.
Wow.
And they sold the building, and then the guy just it was still working as a phone, but they screwed it off the wall and then sold it.
Well, then it should be a standard plug, which means you can plug it into Wi-Fi, the ones that work with Wi-Fi.
Let me grab the thing.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, is it okay if I might show a little clip of what you sent me? I could show a little clip from your video too.
This thing is the phone.
No, that's a standard. Yeah, no, you could. You have to rewire it a little bit, but you could connect that easily.
Out there, it's 35 pounds.
Yeah. Well, you can't hang it very well. Yeah, you said that in the video.
I can't lift it very well.
No.
It's 15
but it is
kilos.
very cool looking, and it'd be fun to have it working. That'd be pretty neat.
So I need some triangular screwdrivers, like big ones, to open it up. And then I most likely can plug something in, because they basically cut the wire. It looks like it's phone wire,
yeah. Or the way that those work too, you strip it down. I think it's 8 really small wires, and they go in a certain order, and you just slide them into the pinholes of the plug. I can still buy those plugs at the hardware store nearby us.
Oh yeah.
But and you can, the one version that you get there, you just screw it tight afterwards and
okay, yeah.
Pop
I have a crimping pliers and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. That'd be fun if you have. We have Wi-Fi phone inside the house. It comes as part of our service. Like it plugs into the router, and and so then
actually
we have a standard phone
ours
at the house.
Just hitchhike on the Wi-Fi.
Oh, it is it? Okay. Yeah, you're using your service. That's cool though. Yeah, I mean, check it out. Go over to Vince's channel and hook up with that and see things that are going on over there. I with the things that Vince has going on and future things, I mean, I think it's very worthwhile to invest in and checking out his channel and watching where he goes. I will say, speaking of things, receiving things, I will tell you that over the past couple weeks, interaction wise, and my analytics show me, I've responded to over 1,000 comments.
Wow.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, well, that's a lot.
If you ever have to do it, if you just check it once an hour, it's really easy to stay on top of. Like Vince mentioned, though, some of the comments are pretty short, but still that I make back. But,
cool, nice.
yeah, pretty short and sweet. But some I'm writing like almost a page long response. Yeah. I thought I could give. I mean, a few things that I know that probably most of the people that watch our podcast or listen to it are not the ones that are writing or have the questions that I'm getting. No. At the same time, I thought I'll probably give some of this here, and then next week when I'm with Chris, we'll answer some questions too, and I'll actually 3 things I'll be able to actually hold and wear. I'm going to put on, even though it doesn't have the padding in it, I'm going to put on the screen used prop. Nice. And it does turn on and everything else. So, and
we're talking about the Fallout Amazon
the
series
actual from the series, which is one of the comments I'm going to address here in a second. All
right.
And then the second thing, and then I'll be able to also see this is pretty much the final version of what the new Pip-boy that you're going to be getting in the mail will look like. The questions I've been getting,
master then, yeah.
Yep. The questions I've been getting the most are the ones I'm going to answer real quick, like knock through pretty fast. Yep. The first question is, when will I get this and where do I get it? Number one is, you can get it through IGN or you can get it through Bethesda. I know there's some people that bought it probably when I did. I made sure that I was one of the first ones to buy it that morning when Vince told me about it, just like I said in the video. And so I'll get mine in November. Well, I get that one in November, the one that I ordered. But at the same time, I know there's a lot of you that are like, well, hey, I don't get it. These people that are buying right now, they're getting discounts and stuff like that. I can't even pair it with anything. I can get this discount on the Bethesda site. You're right, but you're also getting yours a lot earlier. I think part of the reason for that is because they are dealing with people that know. I mean, literally, it is almost a year out for these people that are ordering now. So, it's now February that people will be receiving theirs if they're ordering now. And that's almost a year from now. That's true. You're right. I think it's still going to be very much worth it. From everything that I've seen, everything we've, dealt with so far, I do. I think it's a good investment. I think it's worth it.
Put the thumb screws on Chris and get your GeekFix cameo in the packaging.
Yeah. I volunteer to be the guy that, they usually, we didn't know until Vince had asked the question about who's this guy, by the way, that because the guy that's supposed to be Mr. House or whoever it is that's on the package.
So,
and he's
this guy.
It's just one of those services where you buy photos and then I photoshopped it.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, he did. Yeah,
all that dust last night from you redoing our house.
All right.
So, I mean, it's going to be very much worth it. The other piece that I'm getting, another comment that I've had a lot, is, what else does this have? Or this is just an alarm clock, or it's only going to have random animations. And then another one is about the holotape one. So first the holotape thing. People watch that holotape short, and they're like, they think that Chris is saying that you can't, that he said that it was impossible to make it where it could open up. That's not what he said. He said it wouldn't be possible for this project without increasing the price. So that was what that one is about. And in the end, you might have noticed in the actual series, even though he told us, they had a prop for being able to open it and stick in a holotape, they never did it in the entire series. Now, I don't know if that'll happen in season 2, but if they don't do it in the show and there's nothing that's shown in it, it's the licenses, kind of like the whole thing we talked about the Pokeballs, is unless it's shown and unless it's actual lore or set, he can't make it do it. And so
basically,
there's no reason to do it anyways.
No, but if the second season would, for example, come out and show holotapes, then this is still an accurate season 1 prop.
Right, exactly right. Well, and I'll say, I will give it to all of you. For those of you that got really excited about it and were like, hey, can you give this to Chris? I had so many engineers who misunderstood what he said, sending me diagrams, sending me they had to spend time on it, which made me feel bad because I got so many
armchair
emails,
engineers,
not even just one, multiple emails that of what they thought he was saying and how they thought that he said that open. The other thing I think people didn't understand is when he said the front open, it meant the entire front pulls down, so it would pull off the cuff essentially, and then it would slide in. And so once when I told different people that, they were like, oh yeah, that wouldn't be very workable. But at any rate, so that was that one. But then the other questions, it gets confusing because when we talked to Chris, honestly, it was actually our interview and comments that were made by you guys out there that have influenced what it is doing now.
Yeah, exactly.
So
there was some stuff on Reddit as well. Like people were saying the guy in this interview says there's no radio in it, but the site does. And I was like, there is. It's after the interview that's happened.
Yeah, it was literally, it kept on changing because, and that's the great thing about the Wand Company, about Chris, and is that, they are open to, same thing with, for those of you that have been following and waiting for the tricorder, I will also be holding the tricorder next week. The actual thing, this thing, and, and for those that were the tricky people that have been following the Wand Company, I mean, this project has been almost 5 years, I think, and the process is what some people said. So, they've been asking this whole time, when am I going to get my thing? And for those of us that I was one of them that joined there's basically, you could join the list so that you'd be able to be one of the first ones to get yours, but also you'd be getting these emails from Chris that ask you different things. And literally some of the emails were like, what do you think that this screen should do? Or what do you think the color of this should be? And so you involved, the fans in the development of it. But, in this case, yes, now, remember one of the questions we asked was about whether or not the radio dial and the Geiger counter would light up. They are going to light up now. The question about the radio, it is now exactly what my understanding after talking to Chris, this last week, is that it's going to work just like the radio. It's going to work like that one. Yeah. So basically it's an FM radio, which if you're in Europe, you already heard Chris talk about it. It might be, or you're living in really rural areas, here in the United States, for example, if you're out in the deserts, you get great FM or AM, but FM doesn't work very well. Like the only channels that work usually in those are either the Mexican music channel or a channel that's some religious thing, and that's it. That's all you get.
That can be fun as well. I mean,
right. But at the same time, so it's not the functionality of the thing. It's just that you don't have that service locally. But you turn the knob or you do something else with it. I'm not sure if this one works exactly like the other one does, where it's when you turn the knob that happens, but it will then go into, it'll play clips from the Fallout universe will be in there too. The other thing is the needle, the Geiger counter needle. It will move. It's more like a the way he explained it to me is it's almost like the doll's eyes, the way that they open and close kind of thing.
And that's some inertia to it, so it goes.
Yeah. I mean, it does move around. They had something similar with one of the Pip-boys, the Pip-boy 3000. The Bluetooth version, I think, actually had it was essentially it worked more like a compass does. Theirs did.
All right.
And so the needle would move when you move the thing a little bit. But so I mean, true. It's not going to be mechanically moving and stuff. But I mean, honestly, that's better. Not at all. I mean, again, considering the price, $200. Think of how much we paid for the 2000. without the modules. You got Morbid is metal. You have this thing that actually works, does a bunch of things. Also, people misunderstood what he said about animated screens. They thought that he meant that you didn't get to select the things on the menu, or the menus didn't work. It was just like random animated screens. And that's not what it's saying. It works like it does in the show. And this is unique to this Pip-boy versus all the other Pip-boys that we've gotten so far. And it's closer to some of the games, is that true. When you turn on and you turn the knob, you'll be able to select the menus just as you should. But the other thing that it's going to do, just like you saw in the show in the very first episode, is notifications will randomly pop up that are animated. So you're flicking through, or you're walking along, and all of a sudden you'll get your little alarm thing that tells you that you got a notification, and that notification pops up, and one of them is the marriage one, in fact. So we said that we shared a spoiler to the show. It was something we found out afterwards, because we actually showed that screen, which isn't on the website or anything. Chris had shared it with me, so I had those animated files. But that's one of the ones that pops up saying that you've been approved for marriage. So
it's early in the. But also keep in mind what we're saying here is that notifications, they're not your phone's notifications. They're just pop-ups that are in the Pip-boy.
From the Fallout universe.
From the Fallout universe.
So yeah. Like there has been a attack on it's a lot of the things that popped up on the radio.
The settlement needs your help.
Something that 20 million times. Yes. When are you going to take care of this?
Preston needs your help. Preston.
Yeah, that is funny. The whole Fallout 4 and stuff. But at the same time, so that's kind of cool. So that happens. The front portion is metal. The reason why the back portion couldn't be is because of some difficulties in it being able to clasp shut, as well as being able to fit arms and things. So what he told me is basically it's from the hinge point back and where it connects on that it isn't. It also lowers the weight a bit. Because when they went full metal, it was unreasonably heavy. This is still going to be kind of heavy. But I mean, that's what it is in the Fallout universe. So, I mean, I don't think people should complain about it. It's also smaller. That's the other thing. All these people, all these complaints and all these statements that people make about, well, why couldn't you also put this in there? Why there should be plenty of room to fit this. This is smaller than the 2000 was. So like the screen is smaller. The whole thing is smaller. I mean, this is only this big. You know what I mean? And so, and if you saw it in the show, I mean, it doesn't look that small, and those are smaller than the one that's in the show is actually smaller than the one that they're releasing. So, I mean, consider those things are not very big. And that was the whole point. They didn't want the actors to be carrying around something that's going to do a bunch of damage. And honestly, I mean, when you look at the game, even it's unreasonably large and strange looking in a lot of ways on certain people with different arms. But so this was kind of their compromise way of making it something they could realistically do in the show and still have people do action and make it look real.
But I also think, you should. The one thing I think didn't help was the updated or iterative communication about what the features are. Because it is good that they're listening to the public, but a lot of people are going like, okay, so one time is this, I buy it for that, and now something changes. What else will change? Right. So it's not a locked-in product, apparently.
No. The thing I'd say to that, though, that's a good thing, is it's funny because it's the opposite of other. One of the most common things I'm getting comments on too is, well, this is a Bethesda thing and stuff like that. And they'll make comments about,
patches,
let's see. And honestly, I mean, these are people that clearly don't know the previous products made by the one company that Bethesda sold because, they were good quality. People liked them, stuff like that. They resell for much more. That's actually an important thing. Think if you want to talk about the canvas bag situation, what's funny, actually, that thing sold for more. People that actually got those and resold them because it's such a story and such a niche thing. I know some people resold them on eBay for quite a bit more. But
the actual canvas bags or the canvas bags?
The one that was fake one. Yeah.
Oh, I got one of those. Yeah.
Did you? Yeah. But I bet you. Yeah. So I mean, it's like, wow. Well, that's interesting. But on the flip side, I mean, like this thing is instead of it being where they're pulling back on the features, literally, and Chris does this every time, and I know his partner, who tries to keep him in check, is always like, okay, we only have this much room for what we can spend and what we can make this with, and Chris will always be like, well, but this will only be this much more. Like, can we do this thing? And
I bet Steven was shaking his head during our interview. We're like, oh no, don't ask him.
Well, it's
this.
like the tricorder. I don't know if they're going to make anything out the tricorder in the end, but at the same time, like, yeah, it's like, how much can we stuff into this? And like you probably heard in my interviews with Chris, like, there's a couple things in the end they pretty much just gave away essentially because he was determined to make sure the fans had a screen that could flicker and stuff. That wasn't a loss in the end, but it also didn't exactly make them anything or anything like that. It was like, literally, he wanted it to be out there. He wanted the stand to be out there, things like that. And in this case too, it's just like, well, that is a good idea. Let me see if I could stuff that little thing in there. Somebody wrote me today in one of the comments that it would be really cool if the Geiger counter needle showed where the battery level was. And I was like, that is a cool idea. But it would also probably be really expensive to do.
Yes.
So, all those indicator things are tricky. But at the same time, somebody's mowing their lawn, by the way. So if you hear that, that's what that is. But so, I mean, yeah, it's very cool that these things keep getting added and, it's only getting better. So true. You might not get the same thing that he initially said or that you saw on the screen. You're getting something better. You're getting a lot of things. Yeah. And I also had a question related to this is, will there be any Easter eggs? Because that is also a very Chris thing to do. He, and one company thing to do. They like to hide things and they won't tell you about them. So he did give us, I don't know if when I went back and watched the interview, I didn't see anything about the portal gun, which I'm kind of hoping, Chris is checking to see if he can bring the portal gun with him too. To show me, but they made a portal gun, right? And it had all these working things on it, and the hidden feature that he was going to have on there. Right? What's that? No, not that portal. The portal from portal gun from this. True, they're called the same thing. The portal. This is the portal gun, not from Portal, but from or Portal 2, but from the Rick and Morty show. And so they had
one me confused because I thought you meant the portal.
Yeah,
portal,
no.
right?
Oh, yeah, no. This one would actually not only project a portal on the wall and stuff, but it also they actually had they had to put gas inside of the cylinder that's on the top so that it could do the fiery thing and stuff. I mean, it was so over the top. But one of the things that they had in there is a hidden feature. Is next to the battery compartment, there's another one that you had to unscrew a screw to open up the compartment, but it doesn't say what the compartment is for. And if you took your time to unscrew it and open it up, there's one of the little alien figures inside that was from the episode where they had the machine when they had to call for assistance on how to use the machine. And you find out that the people that are answering the phone are actually inside the machine and need to get out. And so they're like, well, you open up the side flap, and they open it up and the aliens come running out and escape and stuff. So you put one of those inside. It looks exactly like it. It's hidden in there, but there would be no instructions for finding it or knowing that it was there. So people would own these things and not even know that they had this little feature in there. That is pretty common for them to do. So is there going to be something like that? Several people that know the one company asked me that question. I'm like, I don't know. I mean, the whole point is for you not to know. So you're always going to get a little something extra. But at any rate, and then what's the other question? So holotape, I think I covered most everything about what I've been asked questions wise. I also have been asked a lot about things like this, my Mr. Handy. Which I hope I hope they do re-release it. No, unfortunately, a lot of people ask me, well, how do we buy that? Because, they think that that's why I did it. I know I bought him a long time ago. I've kind of talked about this already. He is super awesome. I hope that they do re-release him because now he's been in the show. Why not re-release him and give him, what's his name? Is it Barry? The actor.
Yeah.
Then he then he could be like, "Oh, welcome back," stuff like that.
That's pretty good, yeah.
I like him. Yeah,
Father.
he's one of my. That's right. I like him in. Actually, I like most all the shows he's been in. He's kind of the same character across the line, but yeah, he's pretty funny.
He's himself. Yeah.
Yeah, I do like that. I also I meant to. I was going to do a separate video for this, but just to mention to people because I've been asked a lot. When are you going to do the next Pip-boy stage for making your own? And one thing that I want people to know is that there is. I came to find out that there is something about when you buy the BlackBerry. This is the other reason why I kind of put Passport. Sorry, BlackBerry Passport is there is 2 versions apparently. Okay. And I don't have my full ones down here, but this is actually one of those versions right here. Technically, is there's the version that's squared off, which is what most of them were. So you see how the edges are square? That's the version that I've used so far for making things. This version that was bought for AT&T. AT&T apparently came along. I looked up all the history on this. AT&T didn't want theirs to look like that. They wanted it to have rounded edges. Okay. Great. Sure. Fine. So this one has rounded edges. The body, and I tried taking out this actual motherboard. The motherboard is even, for some reason, a 1/4 inch different. So this is longer. So it doesn't fit as well. So I have to manipulate it differently to get it in there. So that was something I kind of learned recently. So if you are trying to buy yours or you find one, be aware you kind of want to get the one that's squared off if you can. But anyway, I also want to share with y'all. We got to share last time, somebody that developed a Pip-boy 2000 with Raspberry Pi. Yeah, really and then I had another one. Darrian had communicated with me, had made a video as well that it sent me using the Raspberry Pi Zero. Oh, nice. And and I had where the Raspberry Pi Zero actually came out around the time, I think it came out literally at the time that I made, how many years ago? How is it? 3 years ago, 4 years ago that I made the 2000 with the BlackBerry. So at that time
when we started the podcast, basically.
It was before that even. Yeah, 2 years before we started the podcast. Yeah. So this is quite a while ago. And so at that point in time, the Zero was like a thing that had just come out or the people were still kind of figuring out. The reason why I still wasn't interested in using that was because for what I wanted to do, like if you've seen all the things I wanted to do, mostly I wanted to be able to run all these other apps, like Fallout, the Fallout Shelter and stuff. But on the flip side, if you're wanting one that is a great cosplay thing that when you walk around, you can show them, I can turn he has it wired up so that it runs, it has the modules to be able to turn the knob and it will go through the menus and he fit everything in there really well. And which is a great setup. He's still trying to figure out a couple other things, but he was also then be able to use the radio module, which he got from the one from, I believe this is the one from Fallout 76 that the one company did. But he was able to stick that in and, so everything, and he was able to keep, the holotape area, which he can still then further do things with or experiment with. But that's the one that he put out, and I thought it was very cool. Things keep on, people keep on doing more and more with it. The hardest thing about the darn Raspberry Pi, the 4 came out also around the time that I did that video, is that the 3 and 4, if you're using something at that level, so because you want to do more heavy stuff with it, the hard thing is the power. And anyone that's used those, like for doing, I mostly use mine for doing like video game stuff, right? Emulation and things like that, is that it's constantly monitoring the power that you're getting. And, and from the power source. And so it's just, the heavier is something you're going to do, the more power it really needs. And literally in wall power is almost the best for it to run really well.
Well, there are things to fix it. I mean, if you want to, I just grabbed my Raspberry Pi Zero, which isn't powered, but it has an e-ink screen.
Oh, yeah. I've seen that.
So this
That's
is
so
an
cool.
Yeah, and it just
Yeah.
it's unpowered, so it just stays like it is.
Yeah.
And it's I mean, this is for of course a Ghostbusters thing I'm building.
Right.
But
You could almost do the clock situation like with that too. Then
yeah,
I
but
mean,
it's
you know,
still too big. Yeah.
yeah, but at the same time, I mean, like, yeah, if you're wanting to do, like you said, though, if you're wanting to do heavier things like running a bunch of video and stuff like that,
Yeah.
I mean, you know, the Pi Zero can do it's just a little bit more limited, and then the 3 and 4, those really need, you know, they're power suckers. And the thing too that I don't like about this, I was hoping this package I showed Vinz earlier, was the mini computer. We have a company that we're collaborating with that contacted me that they have a small computer about this size, smaller than this.
Right.
And it's not just, I mean, there's plenty of those little computers that are out there.
Is it Lily Go by any chance?
No. Well, no. Did I send you the information on this?
Because I got this one.
Yeah, no. This is I'll have to show it to you. This thing is a standard Windows based computer.
Okay, yeah.
And it has 32 gigabytes of RAM.
Nice.
And it's that big.
Oh wow. That's cool. Yeah.
And it has, I mean, this sucker is pretty strong. So all sorts of ideas are going through my head of, all these things I wanted to stick a robust computer in. I could do, and
just one Google Chrome tab, right?
Yeah, good. Well, I mean, so a lot of those mini computers, the problem and with the Raspberry Pi is that these are meant to be used for a lot of things, but that means they also have a lot of componentry you don't actually need. So their size is actually kind of unreasonable. So that means if you were to make your own, if you were to do your own board, and you were to do something that was only for the tasks that you want, you could make it pretty small.
Yep.
It's just not everybody can do that. And so, but at the same time, yeah, the Raspberry Pi Zero, it just opens up more options. And there's more things by them, but ours in the Arduino field. But there's also a lot of other things, products that are out there that are really competing with them now, and price-wise are competing with them. Because Raspberry Pi's getting less and less reasonable price-wise compared to other things that actually do the same
say
stuff.
that you're better off buying a small computer for that price than just to buy. If you're doing,
if
like,
you're going to be doing something,
nothing portable, but if you have something like, even the power management is probably better on those small NUCs than on other things. Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing. Yeah. So I mean, the power piece, I guess, going back to what I started with, is it's trying to suck power to manage a bunch of things that it doesn't need to, that aren't even running, or it's not even doing. The things it has to do output for. So I don't know. I think as time goes by, things are going to be more and more manageable and reasonable to be able to do something kind of cool with. The other thing I want to share on that is from one of our people. I'm going to try and share this with Vinz too here. There was a time where we would beg people and nobody would share anything or send anything to us. And now I get so much, I'm afraid that I can't keep track of it all.
We'll just go through them quickly.
Yeah. But at the same time, so this is Michael, who is also better known as he has so many names now. Classic Glue is always the one that I usually go with.
Right? Miguel.
Okay, you can see that. Yeah, and so on here it's the shoot.
It's the Minecraft
here it
fault,
is.
Isn't it?
There we go. Yeah. So he did the Vault 33 from the show. Oh, that's the thing I forgot to address. I'll come back to that in a minute. But at the same time,
he shared it with me on Twitter a while back, and I recently saw it, so I replied to him on DM.
Yeah, he's been sharing pictures of it and things on Twitter. This is the area where the corn is all stored and things. But I mean, like before the show came out, he kind of was walking me through it, and it does live streams on Twitch. So also, if you want to go check him out on Twitch, it's the place to go. There, he goes by the name of what is it? Sith Lord Miguel over there, _ Miguel over there. So yeah, there you go. But yeah, check that out because he's really put a lot of effort into turning that out and making it cover all the things. Yeah, the two other things. So this is the big thing too that I've had the most comments on. People frustrated every time that we say the show, or this one's based on the show.
All right.
Yep.
Why?
Yeah. I guess so many people are like, don't these people realize that the show, quote unquote, is based on the game? And, or they'll say, I'm tired. There's all these people that weren't interested in Fallout before, and now suddenly they're interested just because it's the thing that's trending because it's the current thing related to the show. And that's true. Yeah, that's part of the reason why they even, did this. Actually, they didn't even want to do. Todd said that he really didn't want to turn it into a show ever, unless he really had somebody that knew things well. And it was because when they approached him, they seemed to know, they knew the game very well. They had their perceptions of what it needed to be and what it needed to look like were in line with what they believed, and they were going to involve them in the entire process. And so, really, this is being churned out by the people who made, quote unquote, the game. And I'm also saying this to the people that say, well, why can't it interact with the game? Well, which game?
The show.
But on the flip side, it's based on this show. Okay, the current Pip-boys from the show, the series that was based on True. It's based on the game, but which game are you talking about? You're talking about based on the game, but they're probably mostly referring to the games turned out by Bethesda, which was based on the ones by Interplay, which was based on a board game, which was based on the TV series to begin with, and then a radio show, right?
So it's like, right?
I can't remember. It's there's like a couple of things that were out there. A book too. There's also a book that was related to.
Yeah.
But in the end,
it's based on the show. Yeah.
It's based on the show.
Yeah. I didn't know that. I didn't hear anybody complain.
Yeah. Oh, there's so many comments. This is the most common comment that I would answer the question to. And it's nothing against people. I just wish more people would also read the comments. Because it's like same video,
like me,
20 comments, like as if they were the first ones to say it. It's like, read the comments. And then maybe some of them probably also read the comments and they just wanted to get me to react. But the same thing. And then another thing I said to an individual I would bring up on this podcast is I had one person that was like, "Are you mad at me?" And I was like, I couldn't think of anything.
We definitely are.
No, like, I don't know what are you referring to and stuff. And they were just kind of trolling me, just kind of trying to be funny. They wanted to see if I'd bring it up. So there you go. I brought it up.
Yeah, we are definitely mad at you.
Yeah,
I am. I'm livid.
Yeah, that's right. I just thought,
look at my angry eyebrows.
There you go. We didn't really cover Star Wars stuff in this episode.
Or May the 4th has gone and went.
Or May the 4th. I don't know what to say. So here's my current. Vinz doesn't even know this. We might still record another episode or two, but on the flip side, we have so many other things that are going to be going on the next couple of weeks, related to kind of every franchise that we're talking about. So we're going to have. I'm going to be meeting with Chris, like I said. That'll almost be like an episode. I will be. We're going to be talking to, hopefully, we never guarantee what works out, but the prop master for Ghostbusters. Yeah. We're going to be doing. I'm going to be doing stuff related to also Star Trek.
All right.
And then as far as Star Wars goes, here's the big piece to that, because my original plan was that this week, today, I was going to release another video like I do every year. Breaking tradition for the most part in so many ways of every year I'd turn out a Star Wars video about it, and they've been typically about the lightsaber. And it's only here that I'm going to reveal this.
I bought one today. That's
right. Yeah.
Yep,
you did. Which is very cool. Did you get the discount then too?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty
cheap.
Cool. Yeah, hey, it works. There's so many. There's an individual that who I hope to have on here eventually too. He was because of his job, he was too busy to join us one time. But he has a ginormous collection. He's kind of very known for he has every single possible lightsaber. I mean, he's turning out videos weekly, almost daily, with new lightsabers. And then he also, has a huge figure collection and stuff. I think collector-wise, and he's a very good cinematographer too. But at any rate,
and he's a fan.
But at the same time, yeah, he is.
I guess.
So, but at the same time,
yeah,
the whole thing, I was also hoping before I went next, but I'm going to go ahead and say at this point, because probably people figured it out anyways.
Well, one thing I want to interject, because that's the fun thing, that's the meme. People were angry that we didn't shut up and let people talk.
Oh, yeah. The interview, that was one of the comments.
Yeah.
Comment.
So I just interrupted you for the big reveal, and so we're still talking.
Well, yeah. Well, it's hard. So something for people to understand, which I try to write back to people that made that comment, is there's a delay when we do these. We're not in person. And also with that interview, Chris kept freezing on us.
Yeah, he was on hotel Wi-Fi and not good one.
Yeah, because he was using the hotel Wi-Fi. So he's still going. Now, the way that this system works that we use, it records onto our individual systems. So what I got back from Chris looks perfect and smooth. And same thing with whenever we meet, when James cuts out or Vince comes out or whatever, it looks smooth in the end, and they keep on talking. But the problem was for us on our side, we're trying to fill space and air because they're frozen. And then when I edit it together, it looked like we're interrupting or we're doing other things, or because of the delay too, we're interrupting. It's because we haven't heard it in time. But then when it comes together, I mean, I get the full video back. It's it's streamed it's perfectly aligned. Yeah. And so, in fact, the video I had to edit the other day, the Waltz and Grummet one, we had that sort of thing going on. And when I edited it together, it looked really funny. For some reason, too, Vince's audio kept on not working. I rendered the thing 5 times, and it kept removing your audio altogether, or it would be out of sync. And so I had to go back and I tried. So for those of you that actually that somehow got into that first post, that's what was going on. That's why I deleted it and posted again, because this audio kept disappearing. But the final version had him in there. But at the same time, but yeah, I will be going, very soon to see Adam Savage and Norm, and I was hoping that I would take my lightsaber with me, but because we've been so busy. And I've been cranking out. I am finally getting that stupid. It's not stupid. It's a really good. I'm actually enjoying it. I even rewatched it last night. The Fallout New Vegas video.
Oh yeah,
it's coming out. So any rate, but just haven't had time to work on it, and so I not only can't take it now with me, but also didn't have anything for the video to finish, and I wouldn't have had time to edit the video. So I figured it's better to maybe turn it out when I turn it out than be able to fulfill my, the fourth, may the fourth be with you. But I am curious to talk to Vince and maybe even to James at some point about, some of the Star Wars shows, and some of the things have been in the news about Star Wars lately. But yeah, we're not fulfilling our typical tradition of Star Wars. So at any rate, but with that all said, stay tuned because there's big stuff coming along. And if we are. I got to check my phone. Are we at 30 yet?
Almost.
We're real close to 30,000 subscribers.
Almost there.
And so, we are officially at 29.6 thousand. Yeah. So, so hopefully we also, as we kind of grow our crowd, we're also able to expand our community, because this is all about connecting members together and the things you like. So
if you've enjoyed this podcast and want more, stay tuned for that, but also check out our channel, join the community on YouTube that goes by the same name, Your Geek Fix. Be sure to check out Vinz on Twitter at massivedmg_ and on his YouTube channel, massivedmg. Check out James at Mr. Malto4 on Instagram and the Replica Prop Forum. We also want to hear from you, so be sure to send your questions, stories, and other projects to yourgeekfix@gmail.com. In the meantime, this has been Your Geek Fix.